Welcome to Mondays with Maxwell. My name is Mark Cole. I'm the president and CEO of the John Maxwell Leadership Enterprise. I believe every one of you watching this right now is just like John. You welcome Mondays because you look forward to starting your week off looking for ways to value people. And since today is Monday, my friends, let's hear from the man of the hour. He is our leader, our friend, John C. Maxwell.
Hi, John Maxwell here, and I'm so glad that you're back with me on Mondays with Maxwell. I look forward to our short time every week of where we can just talk about how to improve our life and to really get better, because that's what it's really all about. And that's why we're doing what I call the Best Advice series. Best advice that I've heard that I'm passing on to you every week, or the best advice that some major successful people have passed on to you via me. And we've heard from Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, who basically said that he felt that humility is essential to leadership. Ed realizes that humility just keeps us grounded during difficult times like COVID-19. We've heard from Dan Cathy, who said that leaders are both self-aware and they're also situationally aware. And Dan really kind of equated the fact that if I'm not self-aware, I'm probably not situationally aware either. So he talked about the importance of a leader having a sense of awareness and not just leading by assumption. And then Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, gave us the golden rule as his best advice: treat others as you would like to be treated. And then he said, John, if I could throw in a second one, and we allowed Jack to do that because, Jack Nicklaus. He said, I would tell people not only to follow the golden rule, but also to understand themselves. Just understand yourself. Because if you're going to manage a golf game, you got to first of all manage yourself. And that just made such sense to me as I passed it on to you. If I manage myself well, I probably can manage my family life well. I probably can manage my business well. Well, today we're going to hear from another just standout successful lady, Jamie Kern Limy. This lady is a new friend of mine. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She's the co-founder of IT Cosmetics. She was the first CEO of the Loreal brand. She sold IT Cosmetics to Loreal for, hang on, $1.2 billion, yes, $1 billion. And she's included in Forbes' list of America's richest self-made women. And she wrote a terrific book that I want you to get. It's called Believe It. And I will promise you that this book will greatly lift your spirits and encourage you, and especially if you're going through a lot of adversity and difficulty and having a sense that you're kind of not achieving and getting to where you want to go. This lady is a pick-me-up person, and her book was so inspiring, so encouraging. And I found myself rooting for her through the book as she talked about all the adversity that she went through. And then I found myself rooting for myself and saying, wait, if she can do it, so can I do it. So I asked Jamie, I said, Jamie, what's the best advice that you can give the people that watch us on Mondays with Maxwell? And here's what she said. She said, authenticity alone doesn't guarantee success. However, lack of authenticity guarantees failure. Okay, that's not only good advice, but I need to read it to you one more time, because I promise you there's some depth here that we just need to just pause for a moment and just reflect on. Here's what Jamie said. Authenticity alone doesn't guarantee success. However, lack of authenticity guarantees failure. And she shared with me in business that the biggest risk had nothing to do with competition. She said, in fact, I told my team as we were building our cosmetic company, don't worry about the competition. Don't worry about what they're doing, what they're saying. She said, John, it's just a distraction. And she said, it gets us off center. It gets us off point. So don't worry about what the competition doing, because that's just a distraction. She said, the temptation that I wanted us to be concerned about that we didn't fall into is, she said, I didn't want us to lose, and I love this phrase, our authentic sauce. She said, I didn't want us to lose what made us real, who we really, really were. She said the temptation is to kind of go with, what's slick advertising, or what's really kind of effective branding, or, what's hot right now, and kind of go over and try to take those shortcuts instead of living an authentic life and staying true to what your mission is for your organization. And Jamie and her husband Paul, one of the ways that they finally succeeded is they were on QVC, and not only were they on QVC, but they were so successful on it. I mean, Jamie, I think, became the queen of QVC, and I believe she told me she was. One year she was on 200 times. So, I mean, 2 out of every 3 basically days, Jamie's on there talking about her cosmetics. And she said, John, do you know who really made it big in the QVC, like, sales world? Not the smartest people, not the best connected people, but the most authentic people on the air and off the air. And one of the things that I just loved about her is as she was so passionate about cosmetics, because she had a skin problem. And so she wanted to have a cosmetic that would help her with that skin problem and to cover it. And one of the things about her authenticity I just loved is all the advice from the cosmetic people is you got to get beautiful young models and let them model your makeup. And she said, no. She said that I want to have average people model my makeup. In fact, she said, John, I would completely wash my face so that people could see the red spots on my face, and then I would apply the makeup to my face, and I would say, you may have problems like I have. And she identified with people because she was so beautifully, incredibly authentic. And when she was telling me the story, and of course I've read the book, Believe It. I've read it twice, in fact, and I've marked it all up, and I have so many thoughts and ideas and quotes out of it. It's just a great book. You want to get it, believe it. Just trust me on this. It's a book you really want to have. But when she was telling me about authenticity and the fact that you just have to be authentic to have long-term success, and that advice that she gave us, I thought how true it is that people don't want a perfect leader, but they really do want an authentic leader. I'm going to talk for a moment about Jimmy Dean. He sang, he was an entertainer, and I'm just dating myself. You don't even know who Jimmy Dean is, at least the singer. But when I was growing up, he was not huge, but he was pretty good. But he also he's a sausage manufacturer. And Jimmy Dean's Sausage is still well and alive today, and he's very, very successful with his company. And so I'm reading you because we're thinking about Jamie Kern Limy and her advice to us. I'm reading what Jimmy Dean says. He said, if I could give the world any advice, I would tell them exactly like my great-granddaddy told me. He said, Jimmy, be yourself. Because if people don't like you as you are, they're not going to like you as somebody that you're trying to be. And I thought, how good is that? Now, I'm going to talk to you about the qualities of an authentic leader, but I don't think I've given you Andrew's advice yet. And remember, every time we come together, we do Andrew's advice. And you're telling us that you just wouldn't miss Mondays with Maxwell because of Andrew's advice. And so here's what he gives us. In the middle of a serious authenticity lesson on advice, I'm sharing you now what Andrew says, and he says, don't give up on your dreams, stay asleep. Andrew, I love this. Don't give up on your dreams, stay asleep. I got to ask you before I go into the qualities of an authentic leader, where do you get this stuff? I mean, you're a funny guy and you're creative. Do you make up some of this stuff? I mean, is some of this just terribly original?
Some of it, yeah. Some of it I collect on the internet.
Yeah, some of you collect on the internet, some of you steal, and then some of you creative. I mean, I love that. Don't give up on your dreams. Stay asleep. Okay, back to the important things. The reasons you really, well, maybe not. I was going to say the reasons you really watch Mondays with Maxwell. Let's talk about the qualities of an authentic leader, because Jamie Kern Limy basically said authenticity is the only thing that will guarantee long-term success. This fake it till you make it just isn't going to work. And so let me tell you what I think the qualities of an authentic leader are. And I think that the first quality is heart leadership, that you lead with the heart. Jamie talks about this in her book, Believe It. In fact, she said that thing we call intuition, it's your soul, and you can trust it. And she talks about making the decision, basically trusting her heart and her gut, and that when she did that, everything began to open up to her. And she said your intuition's much more powerful than anyone else's advice to you. Well, I think an authentic leader, they not only lead with the heart, but they're not afraid to dig deep and lead their team with courage and with empathy that only comes from a heart that really wants to help people. You put your heart out front in your leadership. You don't put your hands out first. You don't even put your mind out first. You put your heart out first. I think another quality of an authentic leader is good listening skills. Wow, I maybe if anything is needed today, more than anything else in our culture, is good listening skills, because I think what we have right now in our culture is yelling skills. And we just kind of yell at each other and point at each other, and we're so divisive. And good listening skills means that I'm willing to consider your thoughts. It shows maturity in my life. And not only am I willing to listen to your thoughts, I'm even willing to change my opinion if your thoughts make good sense to me. Great leaders are great listeners. In fact, the process of a great leader is they listen, they learn, and then they lead. You see, they don't lead first. They listen first. They want to find out where the people are. They learn, they ask questions, and then they have this incredible foundation now to lead well, because they know exactly where the people, they found the people so they can lead the people. So I think the qualities of an authentic person, leader, is that they have heart leadership, they have listening skills, they have transparency, they're just open, and they don't try to cover. They know what it's like to say, I was wrong. I missed that. I'm sorry. I go back to Ed Bastian and the advice he gave about humility and leadership. And as I'm looking at these these qualities of an authentic leader, I would almost say that the core of all of these qualities is humility, and just the ability to be teachable, the ability to ask forgiveness, the ability to ask permission to enter into somebody's life and try again. These are all qualities. Consistency. That's another beautiful quality, I think, of a person that is authentic. Consistent people, they stay with their values and they stay with their principles. Wow. I know when COVID-19 hit, Mark Cole, who oversees all of our John Maxwell enterprise, said, "What are we going to do, John, with all the upheaval and everybody's worried about their jobs?" I said, "Well, we just keep our values. We don't change anything. The values that were good in the good times will hold us in the difficult times." In fact, Ed Bastian was sharing with me. He said, "John, when crisis and adversity hits, it's too late to get good values." And he was so right on. It's a fact that it's those good values that we have going into the crisis that keep us. And then I just close with, we're talking about qualities of an authentic leader, okay? And these are good, the heart leadership, listening skills, transparency, consistency, and then integrity. And I'm going to read just a paragraph in closing out of Jamie Kern Lima's book on Believe It. Again, you want to get that book. And she quotes a person that I enjoy very much, and I'm sure you do too, Brené Brown. And here's what she says. Brené Brown says, owning your truth and sharing it, even when it's hard, is the only way to truly connect with another human being. An authentic connection is the key to love. When you hide important parts of who you are, you can't ever have authentic relationships because that other person is loving someone who isn't exactly you. We hesitate. Well, what if they won't love us as we truly are? But when we have to ask ourselves, what's worse, losing that person or losing the chance for true authentic love the rest of our lives? We are born with a need of human connection. So if you've been scared to show up fully and authentically as the real true you, then you're robbing yourself of that real human connection. Wow. Jamie, thanks for this advice on authenticity. Just again, remember what she said because it's so important to me. It's so important to you. Authenticity alone, it won't guarantee your success. But if we lack authenticity, it will guarantee our failure. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you for being with us today on Best Advice on Mondays with Maxwell. Now, stay with me because I want you to meet John Maxwell team coaches that just really do make a difference in the lives of people. Hey, John Maxwell here, and I'm so glad to not only be with you on the Best Advice series, but to have a couple of our John Maxwell team coaches. This is Greg and Julie Gorman, and I tell you, you're founding members.
We are.
I mean, so when we started, 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago, you were the first of the first.
Wow.
And we're so proud of you. And they have, they're not only founding members, but they've been in leadership positions, John Maxwell team. And they write books. And in fact, today when they came to the studio, Julie and Greg brought, this is Married for a Purpose. And then, Julie, I think you wrote this one without Greg, didn't you?
He edited it.
He edited. Okay,
yes,
he edited
of course.
it. So
Yeah.
this is Gentle Whispers. And let me just say this about our John Maxwell team members. I take great pride in these kind of accomplishments. And a lot of people that join our team, and they know because I write, they want to become writers themselves, and they want to learn about it. And so we do everything we can to equip you, people like you two, to help and serve other people. So thanks for being with us. Talk to me about what it was like before you were founding members of the John Maxwell team.
You better tell that story.
Yeah, so John, when I found the John Maxwell team, it was actually at your Global 2020 event. You remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Okay.
Which ironically was 2010, I think.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And I was truly at the lowest, most darkest place of my entire life. And to add some context to that for you, I often tell people that I've been sued, I've been kidnapped, I fought in a war, But that was the darkest season in my life because everything in the world that I had known or thought to be true was being challenged in that season of my life.
Yeah.
In my identity, my purpose was being challenged. I had no idea what direction to go. And by joining the team, when I found you all, we did not have the money, not even close. We had put it all on a credit card.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which we were doing with about everything at the time. But was able to recoup on that investment just a 1,000-fold over and over again. We owe a debt of gratitude to you and this team and this community for coming alongside us and encouraging us that could never be repaid. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. So you were down and out.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And you joined the team, and now you got you got a good financial base, and you're doing so well. Yeah. And you, Miss Julie?
So what's great, John, is since that time, and I know that joining the team, it gave us a place to belong. It gave us a place that, we are movers and shakers. That snapshot that Greg talked about was just a snapshot of our life. And if anybody would have judged us off of just that snapshot, would have dismissed us. But the John Maxwell team didn't. You embraced us. And you gave us a place to stand. And you gave us a place to thrive in our gifts. And you said it's possible. And so the dreams that we had in us began to spur and come back to life. And now today, we just did a year-end review, and since joining the team, we last year had over 579 online and group interactions and coaching and
just for 2020.
interviews just for 2020, what was supposed to be one of the hardest years. And so with coaching clients and interviews, and we're now walking with spiritual giants right along. And it was you sharing your name with us that began those relationships. And so since joining the team, man, we are thriving. We're doing, we feel like God's called us to begin a movement in families specifically, where every family member knows that they're loved, accepted, and forgiven. And because you have shared your name, it has begun that process.
It's open doors.
It's opened doors that we would have otherwise not had. And so now, instead of somebody crushing us or judging us from a bad point, you guys came alongside and built us up.
When I hear the two of you talk, it just makes me so thankful that I said, okay, I'm going to start this coaching company, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to loan people my name and then let them build and go way beyond that. And that's exactly what you've done. So talk to the camera for a moment, talk to the people. Why do you think they should join the John Maxwell team?
Well, I'll answer first and then you get to go. I would say if you're looking for a place to belong, if you have high dreams but not sure how to walk those dreams out, this is the place that you're going to find a community who celebrates your wins and embraces you when you're down. And that's the power of what you did, John.
That's community. That's family, isn't it? That's who we are.
Yeah.
Greg?
I don't know for sure what to add to it. I think at the end of the day, if you're looking for a place, maybe you're where I am and you're lost and you need direction. I just want to tell you, we all need other people in our life that can encourage us and see our gifts and spur us along further. And I can assure you that if you get involved and you try to do that for other people, there's no question on this team you're going to find lots and lots of people who are going to lift you up and encourage you and give you some great advice, because we've all kind of walked a mile in one another's shoes along this journey as well. So
yeah, we have, Greg. And now you get to see why I'm so proud of the John Maxwell team. These two people are just like thousands and thousands of those that are in our family. We're just growing together, learning together, loving together, and adding value together. So thanks so much for being with us, and thank you so much for being with us on our Best Advice series.
So now we see there is good advice and Andrew advice. Let's call that unadvice. I hope you've enjoyed today's Monday with Maxwell Lessons. What's some good advice or some unadvice you've received? Let us know in the comments. And what can we say about our John Maxwell team members? Every day, they look for ways to lead in and live out Maxwell leadership principles and philosophies. We're so grateful for the John Maxwell team. Each week, we'll feature a member or mentor from our team who will share their story and their journey with you. Why? Because we want you to see the real stories of difference makers, of value multipliers, and of possibilists. If you want to learn how you too can join John's team of difference makers, go to mondayswithmaxwell.com. Let me say that again. It's Mondays, plural, mondayswithmaxwell.com. Let us know how you saw Mondays with Maxwell and how you want to make a difference. Thank you again for watching today. We'll see you next week for another episode of Mondays with Maxwell.